Has anybody here seen the movie Fed Up yet? No? Anybody heard about it? You saw it? Okay. Well, then you don't need to see my presentation. But that's okay, stay anyway. Fed Up. Well, if you haven't seen it, have you heard about it? No? Okay, well, good. Let me tell you about it. Let's tell you about it. Fed Up is the very first of its kind, an actual mainstream documentary Hollywood production telling us why we are obese as a nation. And it's even taken it beyond our nation to some degree. But I was so intrigued by this because I thought, come on. First of all, Katie Couric is the narrator and one of the producers. Okay, and Katie, you know, she's been around, let's just put it that way. She's been with mainstream media for a long time, and mainstream media is usually funded and subsidized by pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, right? Which you have a paradox right there. Okay, but it's gotten to be a little bit more interesting than that. Because I guess Katie was doing a news bit on one of her shows about obesity in this country. And I got to give her credit because she went a little bit further. She started digging. She started finding out exactly what's going on here. And I can tell you in a nutshell about this movie. This movie, Fed Up, which is available, I think, on DVD now. It's available on Netflix, and I think it's available on iTunes. You can get it in any manner you want. I actually watched it on iTunes. I downloaded it onto my iPad, and I watched it on iTunes. I think it was $9.99, something like that. So I watched this movie, and I thought, the first thing that struck me was, none of this is new. Every single fact in this I've seen, read, heard, or discovered, but it's being shown to people that are not in our industry. That's the beauty of it. It's being shown and it's being delivered by the industry that's causing the problem. First time ever. I mean, the statistics in here are ones that you've seen in many of the presentations. But the fact that they're in one not done by us, that's what's important. That's what's enlightening. That's giving us some hope. Okay? You see this guy? This is how they started this off. Mom faces felony charges over obese son. Obese? I think there's another word for this. I don't think obese even covers it. Well, they started talking about one of the biggest problems people have with eating healthy. You know what that problem is? Costs too much. It's too expensive to eat healthy, right? Well, they debunked this theory better than I even ever could, because they show you here a fast food meal for a family of 4. Okay? There's a fast food meal for a family of 4, burgers, fries, and Cokes, and some chicken nuggets over here. Cost $26.74. Okay? Look at this. Here's a healthy alternative. Chicken, salad, baked sweet potatoes, whole wheat or whole grain bread, olive oil, water. It's $13.56. I thought it was more expensive to eat healthy and cook at home. No, 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 no. It's more expensive to eat out. We've always suspected that. But see, here's what you have to remember. Cooking at home takes a little time, a little bit of effort, right? And that's where everybody says they just don't have the time to put in the effort. Well, they're wrong. In 1980, there were 0 cases of type 2 diabetes among adolescents. 0 in 1980. And throughout this movie, they keep referencing a specific year that everything started to go wrong, and that was 1977. You're going to see a lot of the examples of that coming up. Adolescents, 0 cases, type 2 diabetes, right? In 1980, it was still considered adult onset diabetes. Why don't you have a seat? Relax.
We're going to be leaving.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I'd like to know what that movie is, where I can get it.
It's called FedUp.
FedUp on the internet.
You can get it in a lot of different places. So here you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so you know what's coming, right? In 2010, 57,638 cases of type 2 diabetes among the adolescents. 57,000, 0. How did this happen? Everything goes back to the food industry. And I have to say that for the one thing that this movie emphasizes more than anything else is that it's not your fault. Does that sound a little bit weird? It's not your fault. Doesn't everybody have to take responsibility for what they're doing with their life? Doesn't everybody take responsibility for the food that they eat? Doesn't everybody take responsibility for what they feed their kids? Or what their kids eat at school? But they're lied to. Exactly. We are being lied to by the food industry, and we don't have control as much as we thought. Because sometimes you could think you're eating healthy and you're not. The hidden sugars in our foods that they don't tell you or they disguise how they're labeled. There's lots and lots of things going on here, and we're going to uncover a bunch of them. So look at this, okay? March 2013, sugar, not fat, exposed as deadly villain in obesity epidemic. It's as addictive and toxic as a drug. And doctors say you need to be weaned off of sugar just as you would a drug. Now, as many of you have been here, you've heard Jamie's presentation, you've heard Mike Gallagher's talking about sugar, talking about diabetes. Sugar is as addictive, if not more addictive, than cocaine and heroin. And it's legal, and it's available, and it's being fed to our children. Sugar as addictive as cocaine and heroin, studies show. Think about that. There's no drug programs for that, is there? There's no rehab programs for that, is there? Remember that old commercial, this is your brain on whatever it was? Well, look at your brain on sugar and your brain on cocaine. They look so similar, eerily similar, don't they? And then we wonder why our kids can't stop eating the junk food. Why they can't stop eating the sugar-laden foods. Remember when we were kids, the commercials started then. How about Tony the Tiger and Frosted Flakes? They're great. Remember Tony the Tiger? They're great. Kids ate them because they were great. I remember commercials, and they showed some, and because I don't have the whole movie here, I can't show you all of it, but they had actual commercials, you know, with the Flintstones. Remember the Flintstones cartoon? Promoting cigarettes. And then, when they stopped that, they used the Flintstones to promote what? What cereal?
Flintstones.
Fruity Pebbles. Yeah, the Flintstones are the biggest drug pushers in the media. So the World Health Organization decided to fund a study, Diet, Nutrition, and the Prevention of Chronic Disease. I like the sound of that. Okay? The World Health, and as a result of that, they recommended that no more than 10% of your calories should come from sugar in a day. No more than 10% of your calories. Now, they're still talking about calories, you know, and I'm not on the, and they even debunked this whole calories in, calories out thing, okay, which for years was the whole weight loss protocol. Burn more than you take in. Not true, because a calorie is not a calorie. The calories are not equal. We're going to get to that in a second. But the U.S. sugar barons blocked the global war on obesity. Ooh, now it's getting good. They recommended 25% of our calories come from sugar. Food and Drug Administration. Okay, not 10%, 25%. 2.5 times more. They think 2.5 times more than the World Health Organization recommends. Why? This is interesting. You know how we have our supplement facts labels and our nutrition labels? Well, look at here. You have saturated fat 8 grams, which is 40% of your daily recommended intake. Okay, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrates. But, gee, this is funny. Sugar's 24 grams, but there's no percentage. Why is that? Because they don't want you to know what percentage of your daily intake should be sugar. And they can get away with this. You won't see a percentage. Look at any food label. You'll see a percentage for carbohydrate, fat, protein, sodium, even cholesterol, but you won't see one for sugar. Well, remember Michelle Obama's big plan to get kids to be healthy, to exercise? Her original plan, I found out in this movie, her original plan was exercise and diet, exercise and food, exercise and sugar limitations. So if you can't beat them, what do? You join them. So look who became members of her Healthy Weight Commitment Initiative. They joined the party: Coca-Cola, Hershey's, Kraft, Mars, Kellogg's, Pepsi, and Sara Lee. So now they're subsidizing this. What do you think's going to happen? All talk of food, diet, and sugar was eliminated, and that's why all you see Michelle Obama do these days is promote movement and exercise. They took half of her program and killed it. Okay, here's the big plan. Remove 1.5 trillion calories from the marketplace. Why? Calories are not the issue, because 1.5 trillion calories equates to 14 calories a day for the average adult. 14 calories a day. How many calories do you burn just waking up in the morning and going to bed at night? Do you have any idea?
At least 50.
How many?
Probably at least 50.
Oh, it's way more than that. Without exercise, just living a normal daily life with your own metabolism, if you weigh 150 pounds, you're probably burning about 1,500 calories. A good way to do it is add a 0 to your weight. 1,500 calories is what you would normally burn. And all they want us to save is 14. Calories are not the issue, because 14 calories of sugar is still harmful. So they said, okay, we're going to go with reduced fat everything, right? We got Oreos, 3.5 tablespoons of sugar. We got reduced fat Oreos, 3.5 tablespoons of sugar. Where are they helping us here? Okay, where? Packaged foods. A granola bar, 1.75 teaspoons of sugar. Reduced fat, only 90 calories, 1.75 teaspoons of sugar. Same amount of sugar. Anybody remember when the bakery firm Entenmann's started to get real popular? You know how they got popular? Non-fat everything. Non-fat everything. And I remember this distinctly because my dad had diabetes and heart disease. And he just thought it was the greatest thing in the world that he could eat these non-fat desserts that were loaded with sugar. Absolutely loaded with them. Look at this. The annual number of weight loss surgeries has increased 5 times since 2001. See, that's the other option they want us to have. Why? Because insurance pays for it. Let's not change your lifestyle. Let's not eat good whole food. Let's continue to buy all the packaged processed foods, and let's cut out part of your body instead. Can bypass surgeries can gastric bypass surgeries work? I've seen them work. I've seen them not work. Because if you just have the surgery and nothing else, you're going to gain the weight back. And you're going to get sick. You're going to get sick because you're not taking in the amount of nutrients you need either when they cut out part of what you're supposed to use for digestion. 5 times as many surgeries. And here's the hidden problem. Okay? Thin people can be fat on the inside. Now, think about this. Not everybody that has type 2 diabetes is overweight or obese. Not everybody that has type 2 diabetes is overweight. But this wasn't discovered for a long time. We didn't even realize it until we started doing something different. And there was this one family on this movie. Like I said, I'm showing you just excerpts from it. But there's a family on this movie that they follow. One of the boys is 15 years old, weighs a couple of 100 pounds, 250, 270. And he's the one they're trying to focus on. But he has 2 brothers, and they're both thin. But they put all 3 of them through an MRI that showed internal fat around the organs, especially around the body, on the belly. And they found that even though his was the highest of the 3, one of his brothers was still dangerously high with the amount of fat around his belly, even though he looked thin. Okay? So internal fat is just as dangerous. Now they have a new term for it. They always put a new term on it. It's called a TOFI. Thin on the outside, fat on the inside. Okay? And this shows from medical scans that reveal people of normal body weight are carrying hidden layers of fat stored around their organs, primarily the midsection. Okay? So just because a child might be thin looking, if he is eating this standard American diet of cereal in the morning, school lunches made up of hamburgers, French fries, and Cokes, pizzas and tacos, macaroni and cheese, okay, cheese, 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 and coming home, and I love the one commercial they put on here. They put a commercial on here, the one for Kentucky Fried Chicken, where you have the family in the background, the mom in the foreground, and she's going, "Who says you don't have time for dinner? Look at this. I got this 10-piece meal, 3 sides. You know, they got the mashed potatoes, they got the buns or the muffins or whatever the hell they call them, and they got all the, you know, the nothing but fried everything and Cokes, and they're all in the background eating, and she thinks she did a great job with dinner. And that's after they ate the crap for lunch at the school lunches, had a bowl of cereal for breakfast. Fat on the inside. Look at this. You know, have any of you seen the presentation that we do that shows the 4th leading cause of death in this country is properly prescribed medications? About 160,000 deaths a year. Okay, you have heart disease, you have cancer, you have stroke, and then you have properly prescribed medications.
Because most of them aren't reported.
Exactly. Exactly right. Most of them are not reported. These are reported because these are stats that come from the American Medical Association themselves. But look at this. A study that links sugary drinks to 180,000 deaths a year. Sugary drinks. How about this for us being, left behind? Mexico. When you think of Mexico, what do you think of? You think of a healthy country or a non-healthy country? You don't have to say anything out loud, but just think about that, right? And think of the food. Look at our Mexican restaurants. They're not real Mexican restaurants, but the Mexican restaurants we have here, are they healthy food? Is Taco Bell healthy? That's what most people in this country consider Mexican food. Mexico bans junk foods in school. The government ordered the end of fried foods and sweets on school ground to fight childhood obesity. Now, double-edged sword here, right? Some people say the government shouldn't tell us what we eat. We don't need the government to police us in what we eat. We don't need the food government police. I'm on the fence with this whole thing. I got to tell you the truth. I, on the one hand, agree with that because I think it should come from the family. But the family's not doing a good job. So where do we go with this? If our families are not doing the job, if they're not promoting good, healthy eating, whole foods, family-cooked foods, should the government step in? Should they protect our children? This is an issue brought up in the movie. Do they give a solution? No, they're not going to. They're just presenting it. Other governments have done it. Do we protect our children or not? Because as adults, we've lost the war on obesity. But our kids, for the first time in the history of this nation, we have a generation of children born from the year 2000 and up who are predicted to live shorter lives than their parents because of obesity. Do we step in or do we not? That's a decision you may have to make someday. Now remember cigarettes, right? Remember cigarettes and all the commercials and how sexy it looked and all the movies, and I've seen some old movies and I watch them purposely just to see this sometimes. I'll put on Turner Classics or MGM or whatever, and every person in every movie is smoking. All through the movie. I've watched, there's the Ocean's 11, the new one they made with George Clooney and his pals. Did you ever see the original Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack? There's not a scene in that movie where 4 or 5 of those guys don't have a cigarette in their hand. That's the way it was. That's the way it was. But we started to find out that it caused cancer. And of course, we took the ads off of TV first, right? Then we took the billboards down, took it out of everything almost. Put warning labels. The first country, the United States was the first country to put a warning label on a pack of cigarettes. Maybe if we started putting warning labels on cans of soda, this product is addictive, can lead to cancer, diabetes, fatty liver, and shortened life expectancy. I wonder if that would help. Now, as a parent, would you buy this with that warning label on it and knowingly give it to your child? I'm not going to ask you if you would buy it and drink it yourself, because we as adults do some stupid things. But we do better things for our kids. Would you buy it if that had that label on it? That may be what it needs to come to. Because 53 grams of sugar in this soft drink equates to 220% of your daily intake of sugar in one can of soda. So they had this boy, and his family, Brady. I told you about them, right? So they started to go on, look at this. They finally decided to do something that we've been talking about forever. They went on a sugar detox, eliminate all processed food diet for 1 week. Cooked everything from scratch, ate all their meals fresh for 1 week. They actually felt good. They liked it. So they tried it for a month. They actually did it for up to 6 months. Brady, this is the kid I was telling you about earlier, lost 27 pounds. He wants to lose 50 more. This was at the end of 6 months. His mother, who was also obese, lost 60 pounds and no longer took her hypertension medication. Okay? This boy was the one who was going to a dietitian. He was going to a nutritionist. After they sent him around a couple of times, he was having the hardest time. He hasn't changed a thing. He just tries. They try different things at home. Nothing works. He still eats the school lunches. He's still at the same height and weight. Not height, but same weight. They had this girl. She was a swimmer. She was doing the Michelle Obama theory. She swam 4 days a week, walked her dogs on the weekends, got plenty of exercise, tried to eat right. She's still trying to lose weight. It's not coming off. It's not coming off. This kid had to have bypass surgery, 15 years old. Although, look, so far, he had it without complications, and he lost over 50 pounds. If he sticks with it, he may be okay. But when they had the scene on, when they were talking to the surgeon, they had to explain the complications. The complications were scary on what could possibly happen. But so were the implications if he didn't have it and remained at that weight and kept getting bigger. So his parents made the decision. They had the surgery, and he's doing okay. Oh, problem is, Brady, as soon as they stopped doing their whole food diet, as soon as they stopped the sugar, he gained all his weight back, every single pound that he had lost. Went back to eating the standard American diet. This movie, FedUp, these are the parties who declined to be interviewed for this movie. Coca-Cola, General Mills, Hormel, Kellogg, Kraft, Nestle, Pepsi, Schwann, Tyson, Americans Against Food Taxes, American Beverage Association, Corn Refiners Association. Look, it goes on and on and on. Look who else refused. First Lady herself, Michelle Obama. They used clips of her in the movie because they were public clips, but she refused to be interviewed. Wonder why. She might have to explain the compromises that were made and why these people, all of them, are on the initiative trying to help us lose weight without cutting out the sugar. They did a lot more. They talked about high fructose corn syrup. I'm telling you, it's worth your time. It's only a 90-minute movie. It's not long, but it will keep you glued to that screen for that 90 minutes. I suggest you get a copy of it. I suggest you give it to your kids for stocking stuffers for Christmas. It's coming up. Okay? Make them watch it. Because the problem in this country is we're not fed up enough yet. We're not, but we should be. Okay? We should be fed up with what's being handed to us. What's being given to us as food. You know, the whole agricultural thing started with us trying to help the farmers. But instead of just helping the farmers create more crops that were good and getting them fresh food to everybody, we subsidized soybean oil, or corn, soybeans, and wheat so that we could mass produce sugar, hydrogenated oils, and bread, GMO modified, genetically modified bread. That's where all the money's going in the agricultural department, to those 3 crops. I was in Florida over the weekend at a seminar, a hormone replacement therapy seminar, but there was a doctor there who was talking about gluten-free and GMO foods. She's from Texas. And she said, one of her family members are from Oklahoma. They had all these crops. She went back to visit, and she said that you could see the difference in the crop. It doesn't look the same. The corn doesn't look the same as it did when she was a kid. The soybeans don't look the same. Oh, don't get me wrong, they look the same. They all look like each other. They're perfectly modified, but they don't look like the crops that she saw 30 years ago. Okay, go back to that year, 1977, when everything started to change. Okay, we subsidized high fructose corn syrup, we subsidized soybean oil. So, are you fed up? Do something about it. Okay? You're the only ones that can. If we don't do something about it, the government eventually will step in and do it for us. I'd rather do it myself. FedUpthemovie.com. Okay? You can go online, find it. I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that you can do right now for the health of you and your family.